I'm sure you guys have heard of Florida man. Well, I'm here to tell you that Florida weather is just like Florida man, not normal. So, we're here today because I took a poll and 21% of you wanted bi-weekly updates, 32% wanted monthly updates, and 47% of you wanted weekly updates. So, weekly it is, and I'm sure that it's just to hold me accountable, because why not? It'll make me stay caught up, right? So, I've learned one major important thing so far. Because remember, this is my first temperature blanket. I made my temperature range entirely too big. So I didn't need as many colors. And I say that because I'm doing my birth year versus current year. And basically it was to show the difference in, climate change, the difference in the weather. So originally I was going to do the average temperature. And then when I was getting ready to get started, I was like, that wouldn't be a very accurate representation to, compare, because I wanted to compare for climate change. So I decided to go with the highs. And my range is definitely too broad. So I should have picked like 50 degrees and lower is a color. And then do my 5-degree increments over and above that. So I'll know better next time. I know I'm only a week in, and I could completely change my chart if I wanted to, but I did the full month of my birth year already. And I actually did it twice, because I did it with the average, and that's what made me think I needed to do the high temperatures if I wanted an accurate representation. So I did that month twice. And, because I cut all my yarn, I didn't undo the first average temperature one. I just left it as it is. And I completely picked a different stitch than the stitches I talked about in my prep video. So there's just a lot to go into this, guys. All right, so so far this year, today is the 8th, so we're 7 days into the blanket, and my lowest temperature is 70 degrees. My highest temperature is 82, and it's January. And Christmas, we were like 27 degrees. We could have had snow here. It's not normal. Not normal. Anyhow, so, oops. All right, this is the full month for my birth year. This, I marked it so I could tell that it's my birth year with a stitch marker. And I pretty much have been working in my ends as I go. And the stitch I decided to use is, well, it's called an open mesh, but it is chain 1, 2 singles, chain 1, 2 singles, and it kind of reminds me of like a little mini granny cluster. So I got some ends sticking out here that I need to trim. Okay, so it reminds me of a little mini granny cluster. And even way back in the day, the coldest temperature for January, way back when, was in between the range of 45 to 49 degrees. So I have one little row of blue in there. The greens represent between 50 and 69 degrees, And then the yellows are 70. The yellows are 70 to, I don't know, I guess you can consider curry and cognac in the yellow family. So they're like 70 to 89, and then 90 is a rust, and then a dark red. The brown is my divider between the months. So we had some cooler weather in January of my birth year. We started off with, 55 to 59 range, and then we moved on, or that one is, okay. We started off with 60 to 64 range, and then we moved to 65 to 69 and jumped into the 70s and then back down into the 60s with one cold day in between. And then we're back into the 70s. So that is the full month of my birth year, way back in the day. So for this year, I'm still attached because I don't know what today is going to be, and I don't want to have to cut and work in an end if I don't have to. This year, for 7 days, I already told you our lowest temperature was 70 and our highest was 82. So this is where we are so far with 7 days in. The brown being my border. And then we have egg yolk, which is the orangest looking color on camera, and curry, which the more I look at that, I do like the color, but it reminds me of, especially paired with these colors, it reminds me of yellow ochre. Like if you think of old paintings like from Rembrandt or Da Vinci, the old masters, they had a very distinctive color palette, which I happen to love. But that reminds me of like the yellow ochre that they used. So we have egg yolk, 3 days in a row of the curry, which is 80 to 84 degrees, and then back to egg yolk, and then we're into sunflower. So my thinking is the majority of my blanket is going to end up being in the yellow family, which I'm fine with because I like yellows. And I don't think I'm going to end up using very much of the blues because I switched to the high temperature. Now, if I was doing the averages, hang on. If I was going to do the averages, there'd be plenty of greens. There wouldn't be much blue. So even with the averages, my range was too wide. So this is what, this was the average temperature for my birth year. 1 day in the 70s, and all the rest was 69 or less. Which, it still looked pretty. I don't think it would have represented the difference in the climate change by using the average, because the point is how hot did it get, right? So today we started off with 46 degrees. We'll probably have somewhere around a 25 to 30 degree swing in our temperature. And I'll be back with sunflower or egg yolk. I don't think we're going to hit the 80s. That would bring me into curry. If we top 85, we get into cognac. If we top 90, it's rust. And if we top 95, it's a dark red. So not a whole lot to see yet. But 47% if you wanted weekly updates. So here we are. And I have to do a shameless plug here. My new water bottle, to remind me that my hook size matters and I need to keep track of it, and I need to drink plenty of water. So I ordered this water bottle from my YouTube store. So you can find that if you go to my channel page, and you'll see store, I think it says, either store or shop. I can't remember. But it says it right there, and you can see these, because size does matter. But that's my shameless plug. So I'm doing the 2 sides. Each side is a 150 stitches, so it'll be 300 stitches wide. The first month, because I have the birth year month completed, I can tell that the average is going to be about 7 inches for each month. So I should come in somewhere around 84 inches. And I'm not into mathing today, so I'm not sure how many feet. I think that's a little over 6 feet. Let's see, 12, 24, 48, 60, 72. So it's going to be between 6 and 7 feet long, which isn't that bad, because if you're a tall person, then you could actually cover yourself from your neck down and your feet not hang out. It would also probably fit nicely on a twin size bed. So it is definitely a little longer than I thought it would be, using the DK yarn and the 4.5 millimeter hook. But it's not 10 to 12 feet long. So, or it won't be 10 to 12 feet long. And then, because you're putting a border in between each one, it's, instead of 365 rows, it's 377 rows to divide the different months. So in my last video about the temperature blanket, I had asked for suggestions on different companies to be able to buy, like an ombre effect style, you know, like say 10 shades of a green or 10 shades of a blue or whatever. And I got a lot of suggestions from you guys, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. So I've been looking, and then I thought to myself that, you know, when you look at the yarn, they'll show you patterns that have been done with it. And like, that's where you can find a color palette. When you see one of those projects that's already done and you like how the colors look, they usually list the different colors that are in that pattern. And you can just get the colors out of that pattern. You don't have to use the pattern. You just want the colors to go with it. But I mean, I saw some gorgeous stuff. And a lot of you guys said Ophelia Talks. She had some great color palettes set up. I mean, I know where I'm looking next time. So 7 days into this, I feel like it is slow going because you have to wait for the temperature to happen. So I have been working on this other project that I'm not going to share with you yet. Not yet. But this Afghan is absolutely fabulous. I think it's not finished, so I can't really tell you. But the way it's working up right now, I think it is going to be the prettiest Afghan that I've ever made. And the color work in it, I think it's going to end up just gorgeous. So what I'm doing is, as I'm making it, I'm filming bits and pieces so that I can put it all together, make one video, and show you guys how it's done. But it just looks great. I mean, I can't wait to finish it. But it is a big project, so it's going to take me a little bit of time. All right, so if you guys are like me and you really don't have someone to share your work with, like I live in the middle of nowhere and no one that I know of around me is into yarn crafts. So I don't really have anyone to share my work with as I go, other than, you know, Jenna or John. And I think they get a little tired of me saying, oh, look at this, look at this. But they're going to have to deal with it. So if you guys are like me, or you just want to share or show off your temperature blankets, if you would like to email me a picture of it, of your progress as you're going. I will show off your work for you in the videos or on my community tab. I like the idea of it going on a video though, because then it's like, you know, this is Martha from California, and we get to see, you know, how California's weather is working out. This is Desiree from Rhode Island, and we get to see how Rhode Island weather is, and we can compare. Do these different states or countries, you know, that's okay too. That'd make it even more interesting. Like if somebody lived in France and was sharing their temperature blanket with us over here in the States, that would be super cool. Are there any other areas that have Florida man type weather like Florida has? Not normal. If you want to share with me your project, your temperature blanket project, and you would like me to share with everyone else, I would be thrilled to death to do that for you and for me, because I'm curious how everybody else's blankets are working out and their color palettes that they used. So first name, and if you want to say a town, that's fine, or just your state. You know, a lot of us don't like giving out a lot of personal information online, and I don't blame you. But my email can be found on my About page. I think it says Business Inquiry, and you click on that and it'll show the email. But it is it's knottinghookcrochet@gmail.com. KNOTTINGHOOK, and crochet, all one word, no spaces or hyphens or anything, @gmail.com. So if you'd like to share with me and have me share with everyone else, just shoot me an email once in a while with a picture of your temperature blanket, and we will share it with everyone. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and this is the first update of many. Thank you for holding me accountable. And if you click this link over here, it is the next video that YouTube and I think you should be watching. And we will see you next time. Not normal. Florida weather, just not normal.